Hello, everyone. We are back again with another interview to help you understand the power of some of these products that are in my holiday health giveaway. Now, if you haven't already entered to win the giveaway, you want to do that today. Entries end December 17th, and we will be announcing on December 18th. And the goal is hopefully to get this package to the lucky winner by Christmas. Now, today we are going to be talking about Pet Tandem, which is an amazing supplement that's actually kind of works from a whole different perspective. And with us today to talk about this product is Dr. Nancy Bryan. And Dr. Nancy is a pharmacist. She's a biochemist. She's also a certified educator in diabetes, nutrigenomics, and geriatric care. She also happens to be a formulating pharmacist for veterinarians and a nutritionist. Now, she considers herself a backwards pharmacist, and I'm intrigued about that. So we're going to get into that a little bit. But Dr. Nancy, I really appreciate you coming. I know that you're very busy, and I appreciate you coming here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Great, great. So I wanted to start out just asking you what's different about Pet Tandem, and how can it help just your average pet?
Oh, you know what? I think that that is such a perfect question because there's so many things on the market, not just for people, but for our pets today. And so I think when people are taking a look, their first instinct is, well, isn't the dog food that I'm feeding my dog sufficient to give them all the things they need? And just like humans, our food sources are, of course, what our body's looking for. But as time goes on, just like in humans, we have some things that happen creating our aging process. And so what I love to describe about Pet Tandem is that it's not a supplement per se, because supplementing is indicating that we're giving something for something that's deficient. What we're actually doing is giving something to activate something that is diminished as we start aging. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yes.
And so that's my perspective of what I love about this product, is that it is something that does contain some things that are helpful for our pets for their joints, like the avian cartilage. That's really important for their joint health. So that perspective of it is something that our bodies are utilizing. The pet is for building its cartilage, right?
Right.
The omegas are important for lots of reasons, but the crucial part of this is the fact that it is an NRF2 activator. And that is the first time that we have a product for pets that actually activates this NRF2 pathway.
Wow, that's amazing. And can you explain what the NRF2 pathway is and why it's so important?
Oh, absolutely. So we have in our bodies the ability for our body, and that includes all mammals, which are people and pets, the ability inside our nucleus, we have this protein messenger, and it's called NRF2. And this messenger is super important because it signals to our DNA to help our survivor genes. And why that's important is as our bodies and our pets' bodies are going through stress, what ends up happening is our body actually has the ability to fight off that stress with these survivor genes. And they turn on, and they're like our armor. They help our cells to stay healthy. And as we age and as our pets age, the ability for that NRF2 messenger to be activated starts diminishing. So we now have this NRF2 activator. That's what is within the Pet Tandem that goes into the DNA. It actually is that protein messenger that's going to upregulate again. It's going to turn back on and put back out that army of survivor genes that's going to help in terms of longevity. And that's what this is about. This is really about not only how long the pet is going to live, but them doing it optimally so that they're happy and healthy in that whole process. And that's what you see most often, I'm sure, is, you know what, that's what the pet owner is looking for. They want their pet to live a long time, of course, but they also want them to be happy and really healthy and living their optimum while they can.
That is so true. And the other thing is, you mentioned that these genes get diminished with time.
Mhm,
Same with people, right?
mhm.
But we have so many other environmental stresses and food stresses that just add to that whole aging process and the oxidative stresses. And I've talked about the oxidative stress on our panel a few times. So, where else do we see these stresses, and what other things can the product really help the body and our pets to deal with that they
Well,
deal with
you
it?
know what? I think that that's so important because we have physical stresses, as you stated, but that oxidative stress is something that, and let me back up a little bit. You asked me a little bit about the backward pharmacist part.
Yes.
What I've seen through my career as time went on, so often when we saw disease states and things breaking down and people being tired, and this goes for pets as well, that the pharmaceutical industries came up with chemicals that could help start making differences. And so that was my basic training to begin with. But before I became a pharmacist, I actually have my master's in biochemistry. So for me, it was always about balancing the cell. And that's what we're talking about here with oxidative stress, is balancing the chemistry inside the cell. And you probably remember this from chemistry days. It was always, let's balance the equation, because what goes one way is going to come back another way. When we
Exactly.
start adding in those medications, it's going one way, and the only way it's coming back the other way is through means that we don't want to happen. And so when we're talking about oxidative stress, it's the body's ability to be able to handle that back and forth chemistry, knowing which ways for things to react and upregulate and downregulate like a thermostat. And so what I love about the NRF2 activation, especially with what we see in Pet Tandem, is the ability for the cell to react and to help the pet's cells to optimize how they work. And so when we have that happen, there's lots of different things that happen, but that reduction in oxidative stress is key, because that's the key to all the damage that happens in our bodies and in their bodies. And so when you start seeing that regulated again, we go back to just like when we were young and when they were young. They're going to be more playful. They're going to have less joint issues. They're going to be able to run around again. And I'll tell you one thing we don't think a lot about in our pets is their cognitive, their thought process, and their little happiness. And I'll tell you what really amazed me about this product in particular. Like all the LifeVantage products, we are heavily involved in studies and sciences. And they did a study. And what was so funny is it was a double blind study, which means nobody's supposed to know who's getting the active product and who is getting the placebo or the product without any active ingredients. But what happened in that study is, as the study was progressing, the people that were dealing with the pets could tell within a very short period of time which ones of the pets were getting it and which ones weren't, because of their playfulness and their elevation in their mood and their friendliness. And you could just see them uplifted. And because you know how we have the issues with dogs in the 7 years to 1 year on
Yes.
average,
Yes.
well, they respond so quickly that within that 2 to 3 week period of that study, the people that were actually conducting the studies with the animals, it made it difficult to be double blind because they could see which ones of the pets were actually getting this. And to me, that's what this really is about. Yes, we want them to be healthy, of course, but in the end, it's about our relationships with our pets, right?
This is so true. This is so true. And we do see, just like with people, we see so much of that anxiety and the
Mhm.
fatigue and just that. decrease in enjoyment of life because of all of this oxidative stress that we're dealing with.
Mhm.
Now, one of the other things that I think it's important to let people know, because I deal with all natural products, and I know that you're very much into that as well, is to let people know this is not a pharmaceutical. This is really created from plant-based materials. And I think it's amazing to be able to get that kind of science and that kind of consistency with a product like this. And I wondered if you could just speak to that briefly.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up because that is a really huge key to one of the reasons I became involved with LifeVantage. My background, as I told you before, is in pharmacy, but I also have always been a formulator. I was compounding in pharmacy. Um, and what would happen often is people would bring in their prescriptions for medications, and we would have to make them actually for the animals because the doses weren't available from the pharmaceutical industry in the sizes they needed.
Right.
So that was my beginning of being part of what was going on with animals. But over time, as with myself, I saw the answers weren't being taken care of with the medications, and I started really doing a lot more research with nutrients. The biggest difficulty in the past of why nutrients and all the information we knew from the 50s and 60s did not overcome pharmaceuticals, where pharmaceuticals had one very, very huge advantage. When they made something, because it's synthetically made, they can duplicate it over and over exactly the same and expect the same results when they do their testing.
Right.
Well, that was difficult back in the 60s and 70s with plants to get the duplication because different plants in different environments have different things happening within them. But today, with our technology, what I love most about LifeVantage is our ability to use modern technology to know and be able to utilize plant parts and know the active portions of what we need in those plants are actually there and be able to duplicate that over and over. Our quality controls are incredible. In fact, there's a certification called from the National Animal Supplement Council, which is the NASC, which is a very hard certification to get for nutritionals for pets. The reason is because they have very stringent quality control expectations, and they do a lot of auditing, and most companies don't want to go to that expense. And so what you see is often in the supplement industry, not just in animals, but in people, they don't go to those about, you think what you're getting in that bottle is exactly what that label says, and often it is not even close. What I love as a pharmacist, as someone that is, just deep into the science portion, is knowing with our quality controls that that product, they're going to get the same results over and over because we know the active portions of those plant parts are there, because we don't take certification from other people. We actually go test it ourselves before it even goes into our products, and then we retest again at the end of our manufacturing process. And that is why we have that NASC certification, which is huge.
I agree. And I talk to people, that's one of the things I talk about is that NASC certification. There isn't anything that powerful on the human side, which is crazy.
Mhm.
So yeah, when we see that label, people will come to me all the time asking me about different supplements, and I'll do the research. But if I see the NASC seal, then I have that confidence to know that that product is consistent. It's whatever it says on the label, and you can have a lot more trust in that kind of a product. So yes, I love that seal as well. So, and that's fascinating that their LifeVantage is able to use the technology as kind of the best of both worlds, right? We're using the technology, but we're using plants, and plants are the more natural thing that our bodies know how to deal with. It's just the natural supplements. So I just absolutely love that. Um, Before we end this, do you have any stories, either great stories about the product or just some interesting stories that you'd like to share with us today?
Well, a couple of the different things. First and foremost, as I stated before, my background always was on more the chemical side from the pharmacy perspective. But for me, it was about the chemistry on the inside of the body, right? So
Right.
when I started seeing some of the nutrients abilities, because our body wants food, let's face it, our body's not looking for drugs. Our body's not looking for vitamins on a shelf. What our body really knows is that it needs nutrients that are supposed to come from our food sources.
Right.
So for me, what drew me to this whole adventure was the fact that this is really the forefront of finding means of getting these nutrients into our bodies and into our pets so that we have proper genetic expression, which really is the key to anti-aging and to optimum health.
You know, it's such a challenge when people send me all this information about supplements that they're giving. And I've had people come in with shopping bags filled with supplements.
Oh, you ought to see me. Well, that's why I'm the backward pharmacist. People, they come in and they had it all in drugs. And I'm
Yeah.
like, look, you're taking this because you have to counteract this, which counteracts
Exactly.
this. And I would see it time and again in the 80s. I'd have a woman come in. The first thing that would happen is she'd have to be on a thyroid medication because her thyroid was screwed up because her adrenals were screwed up because her hormones were screwed up because she wasn't absorbing nutrients.
Yes,
And
yes, exactly.
this would be go, mess. And then I'd watch them as soon as they went on the thyroid medication, then they're on the blood pressure medication. And they were within a year, they'd be on 6 or 8 things.
Mhm.
And everybody was okay with it except me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's what drove me out of it. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to go back into long-term care and see what I can do to get people off drugs. And that's why I'm the backward pharmacist.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah, the course that I'm giving away in this package is Feed Food, Not Pharma.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the key. And are there times? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? You have a kid with an asthma problem, they can't breathe. You better be giving me something, help that kid breathe. There are times and places for everything. Enough sometimes that the waterfall is so huge with the chemical imbalance, you got to bring it back a little bit
Mhm.
to help the nutrients to get the body back under control.
Right.
And so for me, in terms of stories, I have, I wish I had her here. She's not around me right now. She's usually hanging out. But I have my daughter's Bashan that she received as a gift when she was in college. And my daughter's a veterinarian.
Ah.
So that led me a lot to a lot of my research too, because she had lots of questions. And as she grew, I grew. But her little Bashan is near and dear to our whole family. And little Lucy, was getting up there in age. At 16, she jumped off a bed one day and she broke her back.
Oh,
And it was devastating to the whole family. And because my daughter was a veterinarian, she had the ability to get with a friend, swap out some services, and actually had a surgery done on her. But after the surgery, she was dragging her back legs and she was really struggling with going to the bathroom a little bit too. So my daughter was at a point, she has 3 kids, she's a veterinarian, all this is going on. And the bottom line is, you know what? I said, let me take her home. Let me take her back to Arizona. Let me see if the Arizona weather will help her. They're in Kentucky and it was cold and freezing like it is today here.
right.
And I said, I'm going to try this product. And my daughter's like, Mom, you know what? She's 16. Well, I'm here to tell you that guess what? Lucy is now 18. She is
Wow.
running around. She can go back upstairs again. Now that her backside, her legs kind of wiggle a little out of control or whatever. But you know what? What you see more than anything is her little happy attitude and smile. And here she is, 18 years old. And you know what? For me, it's just a matter of helping her body get back to where it needed to be. I don't know how long I'll have her. I can tell you I had our Jack Russell till he was 18. And I have a little Papillon with a heart condition that was not supposed to live much longer than a couple of years, going on 10. And so all I can tell you is it's not a miracle, but what is a miracle is us. Our cells are miraculous in what they can do. And when you give them those things that they need, you know what? What I love most is that we can give back to them what they give to us. All
Right.
that love,
Right.
right?
Absolutely. I love that story. And, so many of us deal with these older pets. And of course, I see the pets that are struggling with all kinds of health issues because of the food or because of environment or whatever. We don't know. And just to have something that can help the natural healing process, because as you say, these biology is incredible.
Mhm.
And it's nothing short of miraculous, the things that it can do. So to have a product like this to really help our pets is absolutely incredible.
Well, it's super exciting, and the thing is, it's so easy. You know what? It's one little pill.
It
It's
is easy. It is easy, and it's a chewable tablet
Mhm.
for the pets, which makes it really easy. So that's great. That's great. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate all your time. I know you're busy, and this has just been wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you so much for doing this, because you know what? This is how we help change where things are going. Once people know and understand what is out there and available, it really can help make a difference for so many. And that's truly my purpose, and probably yours as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things I love is that sometimes when we talk about pets' health, people are more open to talking about their pets, and then we can kind of shift in and say, hey, we have these products for humans too. These are really powerful things, and the nutrition. All of these things are pieces for health for all of us. It's not just our pets.
Absolutely. And that's really truly why we're all here. It makes such a difference. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and have a great day. I appreciate it.
Thank you.